for a circuit court, but are more formal than some other types of meetings, and must follow basic standards of notice and due process. Decisions must be based on competent, substantial evidence. Please note that only competent, substantial, fact-based testimony or evidence will be considered by the board in its deliberation and voting on this item. Pure speculation or mere opinion not based on competent facts cannot be legally considered by the board in weighing the appropriateness of the special exception. Lay testimony with fact-based support may be considered competent and substantial evidence. If you intend to speak, please keep this in mind. When you come forward, please state your name clearly for the record, whether or not you've been sworn in, and your qualifications or interest in the matter. Clerk, has this item been properly advertised?
Yes, this item was properly advertised and the record includes documentation to that effect.
Okay. At this time, if any board member has a conflict of interest that would prohibit them from voting on this item, please disclose this for the record. Complete the required voting conflict form and provide it to the clerk. Anybody have a conflict?
No.
Okay. Also at this time, any ex parte communications should either be disclosed by identifying the subject of the communication and the identity of the person, group, or entity with whom the communication took place, to the best of your recollection, or any correspondence be provided to the clerk and made a part of the public record. In addition, each member of the board may identify the existence of any investigations or site visits he or she has conducted, or any expert opinions received. The emails that y'all received today, those are already part of the record, and in your disclosure, if you read the emails, you should say that you have.
And I visited the site today.
Okay.
I went to the site and read all the emails, but the only emails I received were from the city.
Okay.
I went by the site today, and I also read the emails from the city, no one else. And I did speak to Ben Malik today, not about anything specific, just in general, so.
Okay.
And there is designs on Facebook.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
I saw
Okay.
it shared there as well.
Yeah, I looked at designs, I drove by the property and read the emails and saw the late pictures that came in.
Okay.
All right, a no site visit, did read the emails and such, and did get a comment from Melissa Byron that she was concerned about the proximity to parking, but that was it.
Okay. All right. City staff will now proceed with their presentation on this item.
Good evening. My name is Christy Anderson. I'm the principal planner for the city of Cocoa Beach. And tonight we have one case this evening for a special request, case number PZ 22-34. I'll try and speak loudly. So this is a special exception request. The property is located at 101 North Atlantic Avenue. This image shows the property boundary. The red outline shows the location of the proposed outdoor recreational facilities. The property is located in the TC Town Center zoning district and has a future land use of redevelopment. This request is for the approval of a special exception for the Cocoa Beach Land Development Code, Section 233, to allow an outdoor recreational facility within the TC Town Center zoning district. The operation of an indoor recreation facility is a permitted use by right. However, the operation of an outdoor recreation facility is only permitted upon approval of a special exception. The current owners purchased the property in June of 2022. There are two structures on the site which were constructed in 1961. The one-story building to the south has been utilized as a professional office building. The two-story building to the north has been previously utilized as a billiard hall and a retail store. The structure is currently vacant and has fallen into disrepair. A building permit has been issued for the demolition of the two-story structure. The two parcels will be combined, and the owners are proposing to develop an indoor-outdoor recreational facility proposed facility will include outdoor paved public access pool, indoor game room, restrooms, and changing areas. The owners are proposing a phased development in which a 3-story restaurant rooftop bar will be constructed on the site north of the proposed pool area. However, the time frame for this phased development is currently being determined by the owners at this time. Properties adjacent to this site are all located in the TC's Town Center zoning district, so they all have the same zoning. The Triton Arms condominium abuts the site along the north and east property lines. The site is actually highlighted in red there for your reference. The North First Street Public Beach Access Street stub ends is directly south of the site. And a commercial parking lot, a single-family residence, a vacant lot, and a retail store are all located across A1A to the west. This is a copy of the property survey showing the 2 parcels. These are existing photographs of the site, kind of showing you from a few different angles. These are concept plans provided by the applicant, and just to make you aware, the following plans are conceptual only and are subject to change in order to comply with all local, state, and federal regulations. So these are only for conceptual purposes. And I'm just going to run through these pretty quickly because I think the applicant is going to show you the same images, so I don't want to repeat there. For staff recommendations, staff does not recommend approval or denial, but only identifies if the application has addressed applicant has addressed the required criteria for granting a special exception. It appears that the outdoor recreational facility land use will not adversely affect the public interest and will be consistent with the comprehensive plan. It is staff's opinion that the applicant has adequately addressed the special exception criteria. Utilizing the information presented to you this evening, the board must decide if sufficient evidence exists to support the special exception request. And then, as always, this is your criteria for approval of a special exception. And at this time, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, the design is great, but how viable is the design that's gonna really happen, or are we just approving a swimming pool?
Well, at this point, yes, the request is for the special exception for a outdoor recreation facility use. So this by no means approves any of these plans. They will still have to go through the site plan approval process to where they will have to provide adequate parking, landscaping, traffic impact studies, concurrency management documents, and any other local or state, regulations, in addition to the stormwater management. So that could drastically change the design of this project. The applicant likely doesn't want to pursue that until they have this special exception request secured before they move forward with that plan.
Well, do they have the financial capability to complete the project as designed?
I'm sure that the applicant can address that during their presentation.
Christy, in terms of what is currently in the town center district, what's kind of the general, permitted uses and items currently in use in the town center?
Well, the town center is a predominantly commercial uses with lots of mixed use opportunities, where we try and integrate residential and commercial. So I have the definition for our town center zoning district as well.
That'd be great.
To kind of give you an idea here. So the downtown center is used for dining, shopping, housing, entertainment. It has shaded sidewalks, large windows, intimate pedestrian spaces, outdoor dining, richly detailed building facades, and the subject district supports a variety of special events and public gathering activities, and that's for our land development
One more question. In terms of the comprehensive plan, what associations does the staff make to review compliance right here into the comprehensive plan?
Well, part of our comp plan, we have a recreation and open space element, in which, we have a specific objective, that I kind of pulled out that I think, coincides with this project. So we do, have an objective, I.6, to promote and increase the in-migration of young families and persons seeking active lifestyles, and to market existing facilities and services to all residents, visitors, and tourists.
Excellent. Thank you.
What kind of parking is required for, it's not a restaurant, well, it will be a restaurant.
Yes, so the parking is a little bit difficult at this point because there's so many kind of things going on at once. There's the pool, recreation, there's the game room, there's the possibility of having the restaurant. Parking is determined on how many seats you have in a restaurant. The other uses are likely going to be determined by the administrator. But in the downtown area, we do have the ability to decrease the required parking. So it is based on a parking plan that will be provided that the administrator can make a determination on the appropriate amount of parking.
Any other questions from the board?
Maybe a little bit more on that. What kind of parking is required for a pool?
That is as determined by the administrator because it is not listed in our standard parking requirements.
Or maybe a game room? What would parking be for that?
I think that also falls in line with that subject because
Okay.
it's not a standard restaurant or auditorium. I don't think it specifically is addressed in our parking requirements. So it is covered under that as determined by the administrator. And he'll use, information based on the available on-street parking, the available parking for public parking within the vicinity. Within, I think, 700 feet, we have the opportunity to use shared parking agreements between sites, and that's prevalent in the downtown. We want to have the appropriate amount of parking. We don't want excess parking. So wherever we can get, shared agreements to where we don't have to, build half the lot of a parking lot, and if they can share it with another use. So in the downtown, that's quite common. But again, that's something that's going to be reviewed under the site plan approval process. So, which could change the design of the project as well. So.
Could we get a little better description of the business?
I'm sure that the applicant has a great presentation prepared
Okay.
with a lot of information for you.
Christy, do we do an assessment on traffic flow?
Yes, so part of the site plan reviews, they're required to provide a traffic impact study, which will be reviewed by the city engineer.
And that would happen as part of the site plan?
Correct.
Post this, okay. Any other questions? All right. Will the applicant please proceed with your presentation?
As she's pulling it up, I'm Kevin Key, and I have this morning.
I'm Noelle Pikes Key, and I also have this morning.
All right, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all for coming. And we look forward to working together with all of you to get a good comprehensive plan to move forward for our lovely downtown. And just a small elephant in the room, or maybe it's a big one for some, we are not asking for any permission to go up and build a restaurant bar. We did very excitedly get an architect, hired them, they built some depictions, and they actually shocked us when we saw them. And I can promise you there's nothing that's going to look exactly like those pictures. But full disclosure, we want to look to a future of, hey, we can buy this property, how much value can we make to us and the city and the surrounding community. So that's where we are with that. want to share our vision for being part of the Cocoa Beach downtown. We want to address any concerns, we want to answer questions, and we want to create an open dialogue where we can listen and move productively. And as I understand it, for protocol, we're going to wait for questions until the end.
Okay, there we are. Okay, obviously this is Kevin, I'm Noelle. We wanted to introduce you to us. We are Cocoa Beach residents and investors. We have very deliberately chosen to move to Cocoa Beach. It is our home. Kevin and I were married here. We chose a home here primarily because we are a family, and this will come up many times during this talk, that family is what we're all about. So Kevin is a disabled veteran, 24 years in Special Forces, retired. I'm a veteran, 25-year engineer, veteran of serial entrepreneurship, and I'm a high-tech business owner. I have done significant investing in the Space Coast in high-tech businesses, and we've also done significant investment in real estate, which we'll talk about as well in the Cocoa Beach and Space Coast area. The investments that we've made, and to address some of the questions about financial backing, we've done several million of investment in high-tech businesses, as well as in commercial business here, commercial real estate here in Cocoa Beach area. And we've committed a significant portion of our capital, of all our life savings, pretty much. So that's how committed we are to Cocoa Beach. So I'll go on to the next. And these are the other people. No, we do not want to add text. Sorry, I don't have a crystal away. Okay, so we also committed our family. So these are our kids. This is the family that we brought here, and this is another reason why we chose Cocoa Beach, because of its amazing schools, because of its surfing opportunities, skimboarding. Obviously, we have very active kids. We have 2 kids who are at Cocoa Beach High School. One of them is on the football team, not an IB student. The other one is an IB student. So we're very, very active. We use the beaches constantly, and we are a very, very active family. So talk.
All right, so I'll go quickly through these, but this is just to zero you in on the property. Obviously, you've seen where it is, so I'll get into it a little bit. One of the focuses is its excellent proximity to the beach. And just to our south, we have 14 city parking spots. And then just to our west, we have 3 Florida DOT parking spots along A1A. The property itself has about, and I bring this up because I know parking is a concern, as we heard a few questions about it. There are approximately 30 parking spots currently on the actual property. However, the majority of those are not to code. And one of the things we want to do is work with the city to move forward with code. So we have, without any argument, agreed to not use those parking spots when asked by the city, and until we can get them up to code to move properly forward. All right, and then there's also a little bit of, just to, for anyone that is interested, this was 2 properties. It was 161 and 101, but we updated the survey, and now it's completed as just 1 property. And talk a little bit about the south building. This one is well built. We are very happy with it. We don't plan to make any significant changes to the exterior of the south building other than cosmetic. And the interior we are going to, as was previously mentioned, make into a inside indoor recreation facility, which we're moving forward with now, as we understand we do not need additional permitting, but we do need to ensure that we comply with all city codes. And then just some other views of the south building. I think you've already seen this and are familiar with it. And then moving into the north building. We actually thought this building was really fun and funky, and we really liked it. However, the sad fact is that it's not safe and it's not structurally sound. And we've submitted for approval for it to come down. That has been granted, and that building is coming down. There's simply not another good option for it. And that should be in the next few weeks.
Okay, so after the demo, we said, okay, obviously this building is not going to be useful to anyone, and we don't want to leave an unsafe building on our property. So what are we going to do? We need to build something awesome. We're going to build something exciting for the community. While we're doing that, we also need to improve the property, and this is something we're very excited about doing too, because you go one block south, and it's a lot better than it is in the north. The case in point is the curb appeal is not very good. Obviously, our curb at our site is really run down. It's almost a hazard to walk around on it. You trip over, what used to be planters for trees. And if you go one block south, you can see the investment that's been made by a developer, somebody who developed property, which is exactly what we'd like to do. So we'll work together with FDOT to develop the curb and make sure that it is properly improved. One of the things that's really bad about this property, and I'm sure people who live close by notice this, it is one of the worst areas for flooding on A1A. It is an absolute lake during any kind of rainstorm. There are storm drains that are close by. However, our stormwater capacity, our stormwater is at capacity. So people who are developing properties, which is something we learned, need to develop their own stormwater retention systems. And so we are working together with our engineer in order to establish those stormwater handling reservoirs on this property. So that's something that's not completely, obviously we have to do a site plan for that, but that's something that's very much the intent for this property.
All right, getting into the current foot traffic that moves through, as on First Street, there is a lot of foot traffic moving to the beach. Currently, we have a good preponderance of the foot traffic moving through two private properties, both Trident Arms and ours, as they cut right through that current path. And also, you look at that, here's a view of that property, and as families come in, they often leave trash, and we even have some late night vandalism. I can't speak to Trident Arms, but I know that we have had vandalism on our property. And we look at that as a problem and we want it solved. So what we're looking at is there will be barriers essentially around the entire property to include what we'll get into in a few slides showing where we have a proposed parking lot and pool, which will force anyone using our property or anyone in general just coming to the beach, whether they want to visit our property or not, to go around and use the intended foot traffic pass to the beach, and it should avoid passing through both of our properties.
Okay, so let's get beyond the negative and get to the positive. We want to build something awesome. So we want to address all these problems. We want to also build something awesome. And we think, again, we'll talk about this a lot. We think about family. We think about our families and the people who come to visit us from out of town to bring their families. We want to focus on Cocoa Beach family fun. And we feel like there's really not enough Cocoa Beach family activities to do, especially ones that are active. Obviously, we are a very active family. So after we're on the beach for a salty, hot, sunny day, we want to take ourselves and our kids to a place where we can have fun in a very cool indoor family recreation area, as well as shower and use the restroom, so that if we're down in the beach area, we can use the town center area to go have a nice dinner and clean up our kids to have them have a nice dinner as well. It's very difficult to do that if you are at the beach without going all the way back to wherever you came from, or even worse, to your car to have to try to figure out how to do that. It's very difficult. So we're trying to supply that in order for people to be able to use our downtown while going to the beach as well. And then, of course, the thing we're talking about today is we also believe it would be wonderful for a lot of people who don't have the ability to use a pool to be able to relax and have fun in a pool that is great for kids really close to the beach as well. In addition, we're very much in love with the Space Coast culture. If you can't tell, it's called Cosmic Tiki for a reason. We're going to have the aesthetic running through the property as we develop it, ensuring that it maintains that Space Coast, that Cocoa Beach feel and that motif. So some other project goals. We want to make the downtown better. So not only do we want to improve it just because we love that, we want to be a part of this downtown. Since we have moved here, we really have been a proponent of developing and making sure that Cocoa Beach is developed the right way. We want to beautify the town center district. We currently bought this property knowing that it was one of the buildings was kind of derelict and needed to be torn down and fixed up. We want to bring that property also up to city code. Currently, a lot of the things about the property are not to code and were grandfathered in just because it was sitting there, but it really needs to be brought up to city code as well. We also obviously want to reduce flooding, fix the public traffic thoroughfare that's bad for us and for Triton Arms. We want to showcase local artists. So one of the local artists here is a great friend, Steve Harris. He's an amazing artist, and we have space inside in our indoor recreation space to feature local artists, and some of them are our friends, and we think it would be really awesome to connect to that Cocoa Beach culture. We want to enhance the overall downtown experience, and not at this point, you know, I think that we're more focused on the family-friendly facility. We don't want to, we've thought about making a nightclub or a bar or something like that inside, but we really believe more in the family activity, really to drive this project forward. So that's what we want out of the property. So to give you an example of what the impetus was, what the driving motive force was, and it's my diva of a niece, Sloan, who we bring a family. So here's an example: a family of 4 that comes to Cocoa Beach. They go right down to Cocoa Beach and they get salty, sandy. They run around, hooping and hollering and hitting the ball back and forth, burying themselves in the sand. They blow up their inflatables. They go into the ocean. They're back and forth, eating their snacks, and then they get hungry and the diva melts down. And she's not happy really until you just dump her in a pool for a while, and then she is fine and she's clean, so you can go and take her to a restaurant. So this is my brother, my sister-in-law, and my niece and my nephew, and this was a picture that was taken at our wedding. That was at our home in Cocoa Beach. So anyhow, just an example of why we like this project. So here it is.
All right, so kind of going from the higher elevation, and we'll zero in a little bit, but what is the indoor-outdoor recreation facility? So I'll start in the north end, which would be to the, as you're looking at it, the left side of the screen. And what we're looking at doing is we're reducing the amount of parking spots which are not to compliance, which just moves them down from about 30 to 10, and also adding vegetation and permeable pavers throughout the property. Right now the property is either a building structure, asphalt, or concrete, hence why we have flooding. So we want to eliminate that. To include adding some underground areas where we can store runoff water with gravel and what have you to help reduce flooding and for all of Cocoa Beaches. We want to be compliant with the city's direction in moving that forward. And that goes not just to the parking lot, but all the way to the south side where there's currently some parking spots, but that will be outdoor seating if we are approved, as well as entrance to this project, and it will be permeable pavers throughout. So, yeah, and then we'll get on, go ahead with the indoor. So the indoor facility in specifics, this is where the preponderance of the activities are. It's a 3,500 square foot recreation facility, and it'll host the majority of our amenities. The outdoor recreation area will have some sitting in a family-friendly pool where we don't expect for most of the activity to go, but we will luckily, we'll be happy to cater to the way our patrons use it. And then we'll have a place where you can refresh yourself, outdoor showers, get rinsed off, and something that's open from roughly about 10 to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Where we're hosting mainly people coming out to the beach. Also indoors, the main accesses will be on that along First Street to the main accesses will be along First Street, where we'll also offer beach rentals. And a lot of this, the fun thing about this project, it's something that I don't have to commit right now to, if it is approved, to I'm going to rent 10 surfboards out, or I'm going to rent 3, or we're going to do some. We'll move as our patrons would desire. And again, this is something that we don't look at as just for visitors or vacationers. We see this as something that is available for locals as well.
So here's the pool design. So Intercoastal Pool and Spa is the primary commercial pool builder here in the whole Space Coast. So if you go to many of the hotels that are all around, they are the designers of pretty much all the pools, and they're the best guys to go with. They're a pretty professional group. So the design of the pool is for family. Again, it's family-friendly activity. We're thinking along the lines of that family of 4 that I just showed you, and this is what we're wanting to target. So the pool is a 4-foot max depth, so there will be no diving structures around, and moms will shake their fingers at their sons primarily. to keep them safe. There will also be a sun shelf. This is something I learned. It's a really cool thing. It's very shallow, so it's 14-inch deep, and that's for more of the younger set, so smaller kids. And in that sun shelf, there will be fountains that will be all around for kids to be able to splash and play in. And if you look a little bit to your right, it's again, we've really done renders up to this point of, you know, this is what we really want to get going on here. But you don't see that that's where the entrance to the building, the south building, will be to the right. And as you see, there's barriers to the back, which we'll talk about a little bit later. The pool will be, you know, again, as Kevin was saying, this is a great pool for visitors and for locals alike. There are many who have access to a pool that is in that downtown area. So I don't think there's anything more I want to say about that. Ready? Okay, me too. All right, so the other thing we're really excited about, and this goes to being a Space Coast centric business. We have commissioned a 16-foot tall rocket and an 8-foot tall spaceman that are going to be at the pool for selfies and kids to just, you know, kind of like a tourist attraction for the space. Really making it kid friendly, and also we're also excited about being part of the Cocoa Beach culture. What it so happens that the sculptor that is doing these fiberglass sculptures is Unique Rabbit, and they also did the Ron John's large sculptures that you see out in front of their store. So indoor recreation that we'll have will be pinball, some arcade games, indoor basketball, as well as air hockey, big Jenga, and ping pong. We will also have vending and seating areas for parents who do not want to necessarily do these things. So, and that we can give you copies of that pictures as well for the indoor facility.
All right, just getting into our long-term vision. Again, all that we're asking for approval for is the outdoor recreation area at this time. But we want to be honest and forthcoming and show our full cards. The question was asked about funding. We can fund what we're asking for now. We cannot fund any type of rooftop bar or restaurant, and we're not asking for permission to do that. In our daydreams, though, we think that would be potentially really nice. However, we're aware that there's many local neighbors that don't think it's nice. And the last thing we want is old vegetables thrown at us regularly because we want to move forward with the plan. We want to be good neighbors. And to that, our goals are to be part of good neighbors and be part of the Cocoa Beach downtown solution. We want to solve existing problems and bring this property in particular up to code. And we want to limit the derelict buildings that are sadly quite a few in downtown, although there's a lot of improvement. We want to evolve with times as necessary. And if warranted, then do build something that goes higher. And one of the reasons for that is staying within variance, as we have done our daydream. Without going beyond the 45-foot variance, we can actually see the ocean, see the beach. We can't afford to do anything about that right now, but we like the idea. And again, not asking for permission. We're just looking at the long-term potential value of the property. Yeah, and I'll just also say, we feel that this is a great addition to downtown Cocoa Beach. And we do expect if we do anything different than what we're asking for now, we would have a similar meeting where we would ask for permission for that. And we want to be good community neighbors, and we did think that without a meeting like this, we could go forward and create another bar that's open till whatever hours of the night. We could create a nightclub. We could create another restaurant. We could create a lot of things that have a lot of foot traffic moving in areas that we don't want. But we believe that this, with the addition of walls, will help limit noise, help limit foot traffic, and help improve the overall downtown. And one last, and I think you heard, we do plan to offer locals a discount rate to come here, whether they be next door or all the way down south by Swifters.
And I think that's all for us, if we can be directed as to protocol.
Sure. Thank you.
Open to questions.
Yeah, so any questions for the applicants from the board?
Yeah, I have a couple. I think it's absolutely phenomenal that you two are here with kids, investing in the community, investing in downtown. I mean, we couldn't ask for anything better than that. But the real concern, I think, is really, always the devil's in the details, right? And so, I mean, how many people do you expect this facility to hold?
So the pool is rated for a 65-person capacity.
And what about the indoor recreation?
We haven't figured that out yet, but it will probably be a little bit more than that.
The answer to most of our questions, and please bring them, but it is, what is the city code?
Yeah.
And that will be our answer. And what the fire marshal tells us, that will be our answer.
Well, part of that is the people that are coming in, what is their charge, what are you gonna charge them to make this thing profitable for you?
That's a great question. We have ransom numbers and we have some estimates. We're thinking for a day rate, about $25 a day for Anna can use the restrooms as many times as she
For a
wants.
person?
Per person, and probably family as well. But the fun thing about that I really like is if that is a high or a low rate, we can change it within 24 hours. Because we will, when we start this, it will be introductory rate, and we will adapt with it to where it is something that is appealing to our patrons and not cost prohibitive to those that would want to use it.
And what about security issues? I mean, we're gonna bring in a lot of kids in one little spot and
A fun thing about that question in particular is the family that Noelle showed you, her brother and sister-in-law run a security company, and they're going to help us with cameras and different things that they do to enhance the security.
So you don't plan on having a permanent lifeguard there?
Likely, well, that we would answer that directly to what our insurance would tell us.
Insurance
But
would tell you need a lifeguard.
But as most of, we don't suspect to, as most of the condos and other areas that you can go to that do not have a lifeguard. But I'm not gonna fight that in any way, shape, or form, and I will obey city code, and I will also listen to what our insurance agents say.
When it comes to the wall between the people that are living right on the ocean there, do you know how high, or is that still
I think
kind of?
we're limited to 6 feet.
Okay.
I would be happy to go higher or lower based on things, but I think the requirement.
It's like a 6
I think
foot,
it has to
okay.
say 6 feet.
Okay, and that runs all the way down, so it would cut off, other than their entrance into their actual living space.
Yes, now there is a partial exception to that, is we've done several meetings with the city already, and the fire marshal requires certain exits, which we're happy to.
For them to be able to
provide
get,
for emergencies.
I was gonna say for emergency access, I'm sure there has to be.
We plan for the only major, like ingress egress points to be along First Street and the A1A access to the parking lot, which that is the only way in and out.
Okay.
Have you had any dialogue with the Triton Arms Condo Association?
I have with Triton's Arms south of Glory, but I just met north the
Vicky.
Vicky.
Did you say $25 a person?
Yes, and again, flexible.
So you're thinking a family of 4 would pay $100 to come to your?
Well, we talked about that. I think we want to do family rates. And other things we're looking at doing is, so once you get inside, you have full access for a full day. And whether it be a wristband or some type of QR code or a key code pass, you have unlimited fountain drinks, there's going to be snacks, popcorn machines, and you can go play pool all you want, and ping pong and things of that.
Video games included in that, or?
Yep, there'll be no additional charge for the things inside. And I don't really, and to be honest, I've never run anything like this, so I'm not gonna look in the eye and say, this is gonna be the price.
Yeah.
And that's where we spitball, pardon the term, and threw it on the wall, and that's where we think, but I'm willing to go up and down to where that balances out correct.
We are also toying with a monthly rate for locals, but we haven't arrived at a price for that. But that's something that we could also consider too, because we definitely want to give a significant discount to locals.
And we're completely open to feedback and recommendations and advice.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from staff? All right, thank you. So we're going to move to public comment, but before we do, there were a number of folks that came in after we swore the general group in. Would anybody else like to be sworn in if you plan to make a comment?
Okay. If you plan to speak and have not yet been sworn in, please stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this hearing?
Yes.
you have been sworn. Okay.
All right, one at a time, is there any members of the public?
We certainly can use your fireplace right now.
Yeah, please.
Josh, I'm going out my car
Hello.
with a jacket.
My name is, can you hear me? That's good. My name is Michael Petula. I am a 29-year owner in Triton Arms property to the east. I'm also a Florida licensed land surveyor and have been practicing in the state of Florida for 36 years. I've passed you people out some drawings I've made. And right here in the southeast corner, abutting the property, is the entrance to our condominium complex. This is the common boundary line between the properties. Now, we've been trying to get a gate put in there and a 6-foot privacy fence between the properties for many years, and I've been denied. Now, as you know, this is our property. We know First Street North, the beach access, is a very busy beach access. And what happens is that people come in, they come up the beach access, and the parking spaces are all taken. There's no place to turn around. And what's been going on, at least for the 29 years I've been there, and probably since these buildings have been built, they go up and go through our parking lot and down between the proposed pool area and merge back on to A1A. That's how it's been going on for years. Now, other people are gonna be talking about other things, but I'm just gonna talk about, you know, us needing something taken care of on this south line, the line between the buildings, between the properties and our entrance. You know, if you look at the second page, it's an aerial, you can see the traffic pattern going right through between the buildings. It's been worn in through all the years of the vehicles driving between the buildings and going on to A1A. Now, one other thing that was brought up today, sir, you talked about the access on First Street. Well, are you talking about this access? Which has been used the last 2 days to bring in a commercial dumpsters and take them away, put right here, and it's blocked our road. I don't know why this is happening. But my point is, we need some solutions as to having a gate here possibly, a wall, which I think he mentioned that was going to be done, but we need some things addressed. And I would suggest that this vote be put off until we can sit down at the table with the city attorney and us and address these things, if this project is going to go forward in this type of capacity. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Please. Becky, do we need to do,
Mr. Chairman, members,
Becky, do we need to do name and address?
yes.
All right,
Yes.
Apologize. So I think you stated your name and address, you did?
Michael Petula, 1 North First Street,
Excellent,
Unit 8, Cocoa Beach.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Victoria Sheffield. I'm the president of the North Triton Arms Condo Association. Hopefully you received my email that was forwarded earlier today with some photos. I'd like to start with clarifying some information that wasn't quite correct in the city's presentation. There are actually 2 residences that are affected by this. There is Triton Arms and there is North Triton Arms, which is to the north of the facility. So these are two separate entities. In addition, the town center area, Mr. Chairman, to answer your question, there's a map in code that clearly outlines what the town center area is. I wish we had that to present,
beach side of A1A is residences, right? Once you get down to Minuteman, you have that pizza shop, but you have residences and you've had businesses. So we had an insurance company, we have a management company that was there prior to this. It's always been inside businesses. Allure, the building that's gonna be demolished was a clothing store, you know, then it was a billiard hall, which wasn't actively, you know, utilized on a daily basis. It was for televised billiard events, I suppose. So what we're really talking about today is the special exception, right? I mean, it's great what they're doing with the indoor facilities. We can't complain about that, that's permitted, right? That's gonna happen, whether or not you guys grant the special exception for an outdoor facility. And what we should be addressing today is specifically the outdoor facility, right? The pool. So is this a saltwater pool? Is this a chlorine pool? What are the environmental impacts? I was under the impression the city of Cocoa Beach wasn't allowing homeowners on the east side of A1A to even build a pool at their homes. I thought those weren't being granted anymore because of the environmental impacts. When was it? 2005, I think, was it Hurricane Jean, when the sand came all the way across A1A from the storm surge from that hurricane. So really we need to be focusing on the pool. And from North Triton Arms, our concern is that there's really not much you can do that's going to not, with a pool, with an outdoor pool, with 65 up to 65 people, that's not going to detrimentally affect our quality of life, right? Currently, and I believe our building was built in 1972, we have 24 units, and we're currently directly across from Pineapple Point, which is a restaurant and a bar, and am I limited in my time?
Yeah, 3 minutes, but go ahead and take another minute.
So let me speed this up.
You can have my time.
We've had issues with noise across the street, right? In order for the noise ordinance to even apply, the noise has to be 100 feet away. You have to be 100 feet from the source of the noise, and it has to be after 11 p.m. So during the day, we have no protection against this noise. This 6 feet wall, if you see the pictures that I sent earlier, the next property is actually recessed. So a 6 feet wall isn't going to be 6 feet on our property. And I showed you one picture from our first unit where it looks directly onto where this parking lot's going to be. We've had safety issues, loitering. But the main concern is, and I agree that this should be tabled, because the applicants are supposed to bring you evidence that it's not going to be detrimental. And that, excuse me, that has not been presented. Chapter 4 requires Chapter 4 requires that you can only grant the exception if it's not going to be detrimental to surrounding properties. Excuse me. If it's not going to be detrimental to the surrounding properties, and it's not going to affect the traffic, it's not going to impact traffic flow, and it's not going to be against the public interest. And the residents of North Triton Arms would say that in this case, all three of those cannot be met with this proposal. We are going to be, you know, on a daily basis, we're not going to be able to open our front doors, open our windows due to the noise that's going to be coming from this outdoor recreation facility. I would ask you, in closing, is this something you would want in your front yard? Because that's what you're doing to the residents of Triton Arms. This isn't their front yard. Would you want this to be in your side yard? Would you want your neighbor to have a public facility right in your side yard? Because that's what's happening to North Triton Arms. There are many issues that haven't been addressed. A lot of the presentation has been, oh, this will be decided later, this will be decided later. Well, I say we table the outdoor recreation facilities because figure out the traffic pattern, let's do the impact studies, and then move on to the special exception. There's no reason to grant the special exception at the point we're at now when we don't have the evidence necessary to protect your tax-paying citizens and the residents of North Triton Arms and Triton Arms. But I believe we also have businesses in the area who are also going to speak about this. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Please.
Hello, my name's Lori Barella. I'm the property
Excuse me,
manager
I
for...
just to set what we're dealing with, how many units are there in Triton Arms between the two buildings?
Triton Arms has 16 units. North Triton Arms has 24 units. They are separate entities.
So we're talking a total of 40. Are they all long-term rentals?
No, they're not.
No, we're all here.
Oh, they're all condos.
They're condominiums. Triton Arms does not have a restriction on rentals as it stands now. North Triton Arms, they do have restrictions on their rentals.
So there's no short-term rentals in these?
There are short-term rentals in Triton Arms, and there are no short-term rentals in North Triton Arms. Hi again, my name's Lori Barella. I'm the property manager for both Triton and North Triton Arms. I'm here at the request of the president of Triton Arms, Konstantin Petrenko, who could not make it here this evening. He certainly wants to work with the city, work with new neighbors, and he is, for himself, not against the plan. However, he is extremely concerned with the parking and the way that it will severely, detrimentally impact not only their association, but it will most certainly have an effect on North Triton Arms. As it stands, the map that was given to you by Mr. Petula, there are cars constantly running in between the building to where the pool would be right now. When they take that away and put the pool there, you only have Triton Arms for egress and ingress when you come on First Street, and you can't. And if you go down there any day of the week, in the middle of the day, you will find that you are either unable to turn down First Street on the parking because their cars are just backed up, or they're trying to get into Triton, they back up, they use Triton's parking lot to unload. I've gone there many times where people are there with vans unloading with kids, and then they just leave their car there. Vagrants have a tendency to try to stay along First Street, along the bushes that are there. They're concerned with outdoor showers, how that might also ask, people to come into the area, using them at night, maybe sleeping in the area, we're not sure. I know there's cameras and a wall. The wall is another issue. And finally, they are very concerned about emergency vehicles having their way trying to get in and out of the property, and garbage service vehicles. As it stands on the property that they're trying to update, renovate, they have to use Triton Arms parking lot because they couldn't get their dumpsters in any other way but by using Triton Arms. And we're amicable to work out the plans, and sure, you can go in and go out, but how is it gonna be once this construction comes on and there's nowhere else to go? They're certainly not gonna be allowed to sit on A1A and try to gain entrance. They're gonna be constantly coming in through Triton's property to access this parking lot. And finally, because I'm running out of time, there is questions about if there's a 65 capacity pool there, how many parking spaces are they talking about just to the north of that pool? And is it an elevated parking facility or just straight parking? And is it open to the public? Is it going to be public parking, or is it going to be parking only for the facility? Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Sorry, time's up. Feels good to be on this side.
I'm Alan Wallace. I'm speaking as a resident of Cocoa Beach. I would like to strongly express my strong support for the proposed Cosmic Tiki project. I know the applicants are true proponents of improvement of our community and making it a family-oriented resort community that our charter upholds. I know that they're eager to work with all surrounding properties to make this a good project for the whole downtown and for the whole neighborhood, so it's a positive experience for everybody. This very project is the definition of what our charter upholds. This project will provide a much needed amenity at this location, the restrooms, the changing areas with some fun, entertaining aspects too. I think the pool is a great idea. The opportunity to take selfies, it's just a positive atmosphere that we need more of in our downtown. We really do need this. And like I said, they're not gonna open a nightclub it's just family oriented, so it's just all positive for me, and I know they'll work with you guys to make it positive for everybody. I understand your concerns. But this will cater to our residents, to our tourists, to provide a fun recreational area coming off the beach with providing essential facilities that are currently lacking in this area. I commend the applicants in stepping up and wanting to do this and using their own property and their own funds to create such a revitalizing, fun, and imaginative service to our city that harnesses all of Cocoa Beach's signature aspects of beach, space, fun, and water. I see this as a big benefit to the city as a whole greatly, and I'm excited to see it move forward. So thank you for your time and listening, and hope it all works out. Thank you.
Please.
Hi, I'm Melissa Byron, resident of Cocoa Beach. I love the idea. It's a very good idea, and I am concerned about parking, but that's not what you guys are deciding. That's not your job. Your job is to vote on a special exception. That's what you're to do. You're not to design it. You're not to say they can and can't do this. You're to look at what they presented and say, are they qualified and doing the criteria to have a special exception? All the other stuff, that has to be decided later. It's not something the Board of Adjustment does. That's the planning board, that's the building department, that's the city of Cocoa Beach to make sure they follow the land development code. So I guess what I'm asking you guys is, did they follow the criteria for a special exception? If they did, then you can only walk away and say yes to them.
Where do you live, ma'am?
In Cocoa Beach, 3165 North Atlantic Avenue.
I'm at 171 North, right next door to this.
We can't have this conversation. Please.
Hi, I'm Karen Di Rivero. English is not my first language, so I wish I could speak with all my emotions, and it would be not that easy, but I had to be here. I'm gonna cry. I had to be here to support them, and I have listened to everything, and I can understand that it is very complicated to make everybody happy. But as you can see, the example from the same group of people, one talks about the wall as a problem, one wants the wall, the other, and the wall is there. And so even their own sentences contradict themselves. What I see is an amazing family that since they arrived in Cocoa Beach, all they have done is look at our town and what can they do to make it better. And that's always what is in their mind. As they said in the presentation, they have big investments in other things, but they have always considered Cocoa Beach as a big possibility. Instead of just looking at other options, I think that we are very lucky that they want to invest in our town, which we moved here only 5 years ago. I don't live here 30 years like the other people, but in these 5 years, I used to come visit when I wasn't living here. My family was already living here for many years. And I used to drive in Cocoa Beach and think, oh my God, this is such a beautiful place at the beach and so many old, round-down buildings. Why don't they do something about it? And now we find people like them that want to do that. And as the previous people said, I mean, I agree exactly with their words. We are here just about the pool today, not the wall or the parking or anything else. And whatever they do, if it is a commercial area, is going to bring a lot of people anyway. So, I mean, I don't see the parking as just a problem for the pool, when parking can be a problem for any other commercial thing that they want to open. So, well, I just want to say that I support them. And I live on Minuteman. Yes, I'm not right next door, like they were telling to her, I'm not right next door, but I'm on Minuteman. Oh yeah, and one more. For example, we have a 16-year-old son, and I love all the places that we have here for them to go out. They love to go to Tiny Turtle to eat, sometimes after soccer practice. And but like to go to do something together. For example, they have to go to the movies in Merritt Island, and we have to drive them. They bike to Tiny Turtle by themselves, you know, or to one of our houses. So for us parents, a place like this is like exactly what we need for our boys to get together and say, hey, let's go to the pool, you know, since they want to offer like a special rate for residents. And we're counting on that they can go like, you know, like the 6 of them or the 8 of them that they are all working out together, go there, another place for them to hang out that we know is safe, and right in Cocoa Beach. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Bob Doomer, and I snowboard for 25 years. Come down here, still love it, and my kids come down here. They come down here to go to the beach, okay? They want to swim in the pool, they go to the pool. But my question is, what will be the hours of this pool? Is it going to be from 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night? And the unit that I live in is Triton Arms. Our bedroom windows will be facing that pool area. And noise will come through. It's going to be open till 11 o'clock, lights going to come on. People like, no. This morning, at 7 o'clock this morning, the garbage truck is beep, 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 picking up the garbage because they had it back in there. And 7 o'clock in the morning. We, as a unit owner, I'd like to know what noise is going to be there. The light's going to be on, security. We've had problems with issues with people using the water. I'm worried about that. So, I'm just saying, it's been a great 25 years. I love it down here. Pool and all that's fine and dandy. Swimming pool at the beach? Come on. That's what you go to the beach for. In the ocean.
Other comments?
Hi, my name is Rosa Mario. I live at Triton Arms, North Triton Arms, 2 unit. I just have a couple of questions. You said it's public for families only? No. So in other words, if 7 or 8 group of people come and they want to go in and they don't
There'll be a rebuttal time for the applicants here in a minute, once we close public comment. Any other public comment? All right. You guys can take a few minutes to respond to what you've been asked.
Sure. All right, here's one. First of all, we look forward to being, well, come on, but we look forward to being neighbors with Paul, and we want to be good neighbors. I don't want to have tensions, although I expect there to be an open dialogue. Just to address a few of the things that I heard, the dumpsters. We got with the waste management, and they can actually drive them straight. There's no need to move the dumpsters because they have the ability to go in from the side. So that can be avoided. We have no issue if the city approves for your property at Trident Arms on the east to have a gate. I have absolutely zero issue with that. There are pools actively going in now, such as the Surf to the east of A1A. A 6-foot wall, if you desire, we'd be happy to actually put it right on the line on your property if that makes it higher and makes it more beneficial. And we're not even sold on the wall. If we weren't going to do the pool, we don't need to reduce the noise, then we would probably just have a fence and do things that we don't need approval for because we are paying property taxes on this and it's costing us. We can put food trucks in there or something that we can actually get a good return on our investment. And I don't think that's fun or really what anyone really wants. And the traffic, the traffic issue coming in, we work with the city, so that is addressed where we have you see my shadow, the build out here which allows people to turn in and not impact traffic. We also address the environmental concerns for flooding, and we plan to fix that as well. We also think this is going to be a value for both Trident Arms with the Airbnbs. We went to the properties, we looked at the properties today, 50-50, and I don't know what they are, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but the license plates about 50-50 were out of state. So we think this could also help here. And I see you are shaking your head, and I'm not telling you I'm right. I'm just saying what I saw. And perhaps the locals drive away and they're working. And
the hours of the facility are from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the low season and 7 p.m. in the high season. So it is intended to be a daytime facility.
Outdoor showers will be accessed through a control point. That was a question. So there will not be access to outdoor showers when the facility is closed.
In terms of the noise, there are many, and also just a pool in general. I would say probably about 50% of the condos that are all along A1A have a pool that is private to them, and they use that pool regularly. We own property in Boardwalk, for instance, and Boardwalk had a pool that was used regularly and had as much noise as a pool is going to have, and frankly has as much noise and music as your beach does on your other side. So we believe that the noise is similar, and that's what I would say about the noise.
Yeah, and I'll send that. I know we're presenting to you, but at the end of the day, we're going to be your neighbors, and we want to have an open dialogue and constant discussion, and we would prefer to make decisions and respect those that are made by the boards of approval. And we're with you.
Can I ask a quick question? I think also is what I failed to ask is, there was concern about where the pool equipment was going to be situated for the pool. Where's the discharge area? Where the pump station, the pump house, is that all going to be towards Triton Arms, or is that going to be towards the street?
It has to be towards the building because all of that has to be housed within, this is where.
It has to be close to there, and if we are approved for the pool, we will we're going to build a fence along here regardless, because on our property, we do not like the passage through that goes through both of our properties. So we want to solve that problem regardless of whether we get approved for the pool or not. If the pool is approved, we want to mitigate the noise. So that there will be a wall, and we see this area right here as the utility area where we could have, where we store necessary things to work with that, which will be largely out of view to anyone in any Triton Arms.
And the pool equipment would be there?
Yes.
In that facing Triton Arms?
You wouldn't see it, not a direct caveat, but the only caveat I'll throw is the fire marshal believed we needed an exit here and here, which I will comply with whatever the city does.
And one of the questions also was about our dumpster, and we apologize, Arnell, who was here listening, The dumpster, the commercial dumpster should be, our only ingress for that commercial dumpster should be from on our property. You know,
Very fair
that,
complaint.
you know, we should not be driving through Triton Arms driveway, okay? We should not be doing.
We are impacting that, and that is a very fair complaint that will address immediately.
So let's talk about our trash. Our trash will, and again, this is gonna be, our civil engineer is here tonight too. So, and we have not, and again, people say that this is a loose thing, it's because it's a site plan and that's what has to happen. But we anticipate that our garbage will be somewhere over in the parking lot area. So we will have garbage trucks coming from A1A, not coming down First Street. So.
And I know it is kind of loose, but again, we're trying to work with city code, and when we open one page and we move down that code, then we find that it impacts others. And I would like to give you more fidelity, all of you, but.
Surely you can acknowledge that a public pool is different than a residential pool or the condo, where the condo has control over the noise, and if there is noise, the condo.
I have to ask you to, this is not continued public comment.
No, I'm just
I
asking
allowed the
them to
question,
just
but.
acknowledge that.
Yes,
Can
and
I-
we've spent time on a lot of the other public pools, like the Radisson, which is in Cape Canaveral, considering, you know, we've gone through, we've spent time looking not just at this property and going to Juice and Java, but we looked at the other pools that provide public access, like the Hilton, the new one, and which is in Cocoa Beach, and the Radisson, and they allow the public to come in, and we've watched what happens, we've watched the clientele, and we've tried to look like, is this a good idea? We believe it is, and there was one comment of, you don't go to the beach, not to go to the pool. We will own this failure if approved to proceed with it.
So, and then just to follow Keith, I'm sorry.
This needs to be their closing comments.
Oh.
This can't be.
No.
So in closing.
Questions that were posed.
In closing, I appreciate all your time. I look forward to a dialogue with the board, with the city, and with the residents of Cocoa Beach, and I hope you will.
I would like to say one more thing. Not only is it our goal to improve, you know, our well-being, et cetera, but we think by running an amazing business and generating taxable revenue, we will be contributing a lot to the other part of the city's charter, which is to make sure that your budget is healthy. We want to be, we would love to be big tax-paying people. You know, we want to run a business that's profitable and makes Cocoa Beach happy from that front as well. So.
Thank you.
All right, I will now close public hearing and ask for any additional comments from the well, I'm sorry, I'm jumping up. Close public hearing and request discussion and motions.
You know, I think it was mentioned earlier that when you want to do a project like this, the first thing you do is what they did, come up with a plan. Second thing you do is get your variances, because their costs are going to go way up. And if you don't get the variance up front, you just blew a lot of money. So that's one of the reasons why they're here. I respected the fact that they said they would operate the pool 6 in the winter months and 7 in the summer. I would probably even agree to, in the summertime, you know, when it's light out till 8:30, I see people unpacking to go to the beach at 7 in the evening, you know, it's so nice out there. So we should, you know, maybe whoever makes a motion and may want to add a condition to what time they can keep the pool open. They said from 10 a.m. we may want to agree with them and give them from 6 and 7 in the summer, or may say 6 in the winter and 8 in the summer or something, which just seems reasonable. I think they did a nice plan. I like it. I wish them all the luck in the world if it gets approved. They're gonna have a tough battle, I think, with just doing that. But hey, it's their right. It's their money. Let them take a shot.
Other thoughts or comments?
I like the enthusiasm. I like the idea of a rec center. I think there are other issues, unfortunately, but as someone pointed out, it's really not for us to decide. I do like your idea of a condition. I was really against the pool until I found out that 6 or 7 o'clock or 8 is a reasonable condition. We can apply that. Are we legally allowed to make that type of condition?
Yes. You can put conditions on this.
I appreciate the fact that there won't be empty buildings and abandonment there. I'm sure I believe the people that live in front of it or live behind it have said that there's issues. in there. I like the concept of a lot of things, like you said, the pool is the main decision. I also take into account the people that have been longtime owners as well, that live there, and their general concerns with the turnaround. I'm confused why the city wouldn't maybe, I don't know if anyone actually applied, like Mike had said about a gate for them that it connects, like that would make sense. I know that's not our decision, but it's clearly like a really big concern for them. Because obviously you see it at other beach entrances. A lot of those condos have gate entrances where people can't just wander in. So I'm confused of why that would have never happened for them. So I hear both sides, honestly, as of how a resident would feel to be living right there, but I also see people that are trying to also build something in our downtown that is full of abandoned buildings right now, so that are falling apart. So I mean, I'm grateful that they're gonna do the arcade side stuff. I think that's a great addition to downtown, and something for kids to do and families and anyone in general. So, but I do hear the neighbors when it comes to that stuff. So.
Well, we got two issues. We got to build the value of Cocoa Beach, and I think we got to make sure that the value of Triton Arms continues to go up too, right? We can't let this affect that. But I think I love the fact that they're here investing in the town, and like Don said, they've already made their purchase. Now it's up to them to make it work, and I think we're investing in them more than we are in the plan. So.
Becky, a question. As I
Okay.
read special exception language, compatible with permitted uses of the property, and I think we heard from Christy that it is.
Yes.
Found not to be detrimental to the surrounding properties, and I think that's one of the objections. And then to the extent that such a special exception is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and I think we heard that was. So that,
Yes.
for me, kind of zeroes in on the term detrimental. Is there, from a municipality perspective or a broader legal perspective, does the term detrimental carry a specific connotation or meaning?
No, that is something that you are charged to decide. One thing that you can look at, you frequently look at the before and the after. From what I saw, and you know, I've walked by that many times, there are abandoned buildings right now in terrible shape. That's the before, and then what will be in the after, which is something, an appropriate way to look at it. But that is why y'all have the discretion to make these decisions.
Thank you.
Mhm.
One of the concerns I've heard expressed is traffic flow, but it sounds like the solution to that has been to use the property in question as a means of, I guess, egress.
And that is, I will tell you that is not something that's before you tonight, because they will have to have a traffic engineer do a study, and that will be dealt with by people other than you.
Yeah, outside of this.
Right.
Traffic flow is one of the criteria for granting the
So
special exception.
we can't have comments from the public at this time. So I guess
So even
Mike,
if the pool was granted, they still have to go,
Get a
traffic
site
Yeah,
has to be looked
for
at.
all of their
these
site
units still
plans.
could be, like, it's
Right.
beyond us at this point. This is literally just the variance of whether or not it's gonna move forward.
It's a special exception.
Yeah, I'm sorry, special exception.
Right, and if you do believe, and that is a point, if you do believe that having a pool as opposed to the other things which are there would have a specific impact on traffic, knowing that the next step will involve a traffic study, you know, you can consider that.
yeah, I think my point with the observation on traffic for my fellow board members is just that the current solution has used what is not by right access to the property in question. And so the fact that the property would change their configuration, I don't personally think that is detrimental, although it has practical implications.
People can't
I
turn
don't
through
think we can't,
regardless.
yeah.
Well,
I
they're gonna
can't-
put a fence and stop it because it's their property and it's gonna be used.
And I think that's their right to do.
Yeah,
I don't think
absolutely,
that's,
yeah.
for me, a consideration from a traffic flow
And
perspective.
you're only talking 65 plus another maybe 50 or 60 people indoor. I mean, you're not talking a lot of people there,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is
111
good for us,
You don't
maybe
think
not so good for
111 is a
them.
lot of
I don't-
people? I'm sorry, you don't think 111 people descending on one little area is a lot of people?
No, not downtown Cocoa Beach.
Really?
you know, you
Park
gotta realize.
at the beach sides?
We gotta realize that a lot of people who go to the beach, they come here, they scrounge around town, they find a parking space, they get some that they pay for park. But they may also go in there and say, hey, look, let's rent a beach umbrella and a chair from them and go to the beach. So is that them eating up a parking space? Those people probably would've came anyways. And the nice fact is they'd get in the pool too if they wanted or not. So you can't say, I don't see where the administrator, as they brought up either, gotta do a determination of what's required for parking. But a lot of the parking's already gonna be used for people who wanna go to the beach. Oh, let's go cool off in the pool and take a shower and go have dinner, like they plan on doing in the future. So the parking to me doesn't really bother me that much. You know, it's such a mess on heavy-duty weekends, you know, your Labor Days and all that stuff.
Well, it's parking and traffic, though. I mean,
The
traffic, I don't know
is-
if you drive by that intersection
But
ever,
I don't-
but that is the worst
I
intersection.
drive by every day.
No, Minuteman turning onto Atlantic's the worst, where people cross as you're turning and they go from one lane to the other. I've almost been hit
Well, right,
at
that
least
too.
twice a week.
But you have that blinking light right there, and people are gonna be stopping and hitting us with that all the time.
Yeah, it's tough, but.
But then again, like you mentioned, it could be any business, and that's still gonna draw people.
Because, yeah, the whole point is they can, this is just the pool we're looking at, but they can do whatever they want with the property otherwise. A restaurant, a bar, a nightclub, it's their property. We're literally just looking at whether or not to allow a pool.
All right. Any further discussion or any motions?
One thing,
I'll make a motion.
well,
if you
before we
want.
do that, we talked about the pool hours, but what about the recreational center? Has that changed that?
I think,
That is not something that is
Cause
In
it's just a
question
in
pool.
your
here.
purview.
It's just
That's
a
a
pool.
permitted use.
Yeah, they can do,
It can probably stay open until midnight or so. I don't know what the
They,
law is, probably 10
they
to
could, they could
11
have a
to-
bar there. They could stay
Stay
open
open to
as
2.
late as, yeah,
No matter whether the pool's there or not.
right, exactly.
I will say I do like that they, have been, they seem like they genuinely wanna communicate with the neighbors, and I hope that's true, and I hope it stays that way. We've sat here a few times and seen when you don't communicate what that looks like, so I do hope that that is something, not advice, but I will say that that's important, as business neighbors, to like have that relationship and hear what people are concerned about.
Right.
So, just wanted to add that I did think that that was a good thing.
I'll make a motion if you think we're finished discussing.
I would leave it open to,
Are you planning on adding a condition at all?
Yeah, I was gonna add the 5th one, the time. You have no objection, I'll make
No
a
objections.
Oh, okay.
Please.
I would like to make a motion to approve in case number PZ 22-34. I move to adopt the findings in the staff report and the testimony given and approve a special exception per the requirements of LDC section 2-33 to allow an outdoor recreational facility within the town center zoning district located at 101 North Atlantic Avenue with the following conditions. As the 4 of them, I don't think I have to read them, do I? And add
No.
condition number 5, that the pool hours will be from 10 a.m. till, I'd like to even say, because we want to make sure they try it, they make it if they're going to do it. I think we should say 7 in the winter and 8 p.m. in the summer. You know, people go to the beach at 8 o'clock all the time. So, and that would be the 5th condition.
You say 7 a.m. in the winter? It's already dark.
Excuse me, 10 to 7 in the winter and in the summer.
Isn't it dark at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, well, we can keep it.
5:30.
Yeah, yeah. Hell, we can say
Sunset?
6 in the winter and 8 in the summer. And the transition between the two is whatever, spring and fall. I don't know how you define summer and winter, but.
Well, there is an official
Daylight saving
date.
Daylight
when-
savings,
when
December
summer-
21st is winter and
Right.
March or whatever it is.
is there a second?
If you want to change the time or discuss it. So the motion I'm going to make is 7 in the winter and 8 in the summer.
Do we
There's
have a
more
s-
tourists in the winter that are here. Well, hell, now there's tourists year-round the same.
Is there a second?
Usually if someone seconds, then we can talk about it.
Yeah, then discussion or motion to amend.
I'll second.
All right, we have a second. Is there discussion?
What legally happens if they don't keep to those hours?
They would be in violation of the code. So there would be code enforcement action, and the city could shut them down.
Which could
It is
affect their-
enforceable.
So it could affect their like what we're approving today, but they would already have a pool, or it would just shut
They-
them down for the.
They would have to comply with it.
Okay.
Just like.
Just to operate in general. Okay.
It, basically with a special exception, it creates a regulation that the city can enforce. And the way the city enforces regulations having to do with the use of real property is to have a code enforcement action against them. And that can result in fines, it can result in an injunction, it can result, I mean, it's really bad news.
It wouldn't be worth it to stay
Oh,
open
oh,
later.
trust me,
No.
because they could have fines of $250 a day. And those rack up really quickly.
Then the city would own a pool.
Well, well, that's, yeah, it's possible.
I'm not sure that's what we're at. In terms of the hours set, are those 4 hours that are set like that on special conditions that become part of regulations? Are those amendable in the future, or does that require some type of board action?
Typically they are not. There's actually an ordinance that is, that's about to be under consideration, talking about an amendment to variances and special exceptions. But right now, there really isn't a process.
So whatever hours we set will effectively be in perpetuity without ability to change them.
Unless staff, am I missing something there? They'd have to come back, and I think that we're going to be having a process. We don't really have a process right now for doing that, but I think we're going to have a process in the future that would allow that.
And this is for discussion, I think would need to be a motion to amend if we were interested, but is there a way to set, associated with like twilight or sunset instead of just by hours? Or by specific hours? Is that even enforceable?
That would be tough
Okay.
to enforce it. I guess it's published on the internet as to when there's, when sunset is. I'm sorry?
We could do it.
Dawn to dusk is the code. You can be open from dawn to dusk without certain lighting requirements. If you meet the lighting requirements, you can set other times.
Okay, I don't think we want this open at dawn.
Why don't
I'm
we,
just
So-
saying what the Brevard County Health Code is.
Okay.
why don't we do it based on when we change times? We go to daylight savings, Eastern Standard. That's usually.
And then, and if the federal government allows us, we will get rid of that.
Yeah, I would.
I think we're
we would-
getting
yeah,
in the weeds here.
Too nuanced. Oh, so do we want to?
This is really a nit right now.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What was the motion? The last amendment? What were the times?
10 a.m., 7
Winter.
p.m. in the winter, and 8 p.m. in the summer.
Thoughts? All right. Yeah, we're ready for a vote.
All right, for the motion to approve PZ 22-34 with the added with conditions 1 through 4 and an added condition of operating hours of 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the winter and 8 p.m. in the summer. Mr. Goldberg,
Yes.
Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Ms. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Boger,
Yes.
Mr. Haynes,
Yes.
and it passes with a 5-vote vote.
All right, thank you all.
have to be shredded or anything?
Next up is general public comment.
Oh, leave them here?
Unless you want them.
I want to do the approved minutes and the
I do want
staff
that.
report. Yes.
Outside?
Outside of the case, just any, this is an opportunity for the public to comment on anything that is within the normal purview of the Board of Adjustments. And yeah, not on the case, but outside of that. All right.
You want to tell us what a great job we're doing?
I would just like to comment that you guys approved more than they asked for. They were gonna close the pool at 5 or 6 p.m.
We still are.
They still can.
We still are. We may be wrong, but our vision is that there's not a significant business to be had.
But my point is,
We've
they
got
have
this,
guidelines to go by.
the time now is for general public comment not on the case. All right.
Okay.
We'll move to staff reports, but we did need to also include approval of minutes in this one. And I'm fine with any order, approval of minutes. And
I'll approve the minutes as written.
a second.
We approve the minutes. Second?
Yes, second. Sorry, I'm so super distracted by everyone.
I'm sorry, that was both Irvin Manning and
Yes, first second.
Second, yes.
That was my biggest concern.
All right, and then staff reports, please.
I'd just like to request a motion to approve the year-end report for 2022.
A motion to approve the report, year-end report.
Year-end report is the last item in your packet, the year-end report.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Who is the motion?
Ms. Manning.
The attendance report?
And Mr. Haynes was the second. All right, and then do we have any member reports? All right. And that adjourns. Next meeting tentatively is February 15th, 2023. Thank you.